Hello, Thomas YouTubers. Today we got Leah's Talking Action Percy up on the bench here. From our walk around we did earlier, you can see the problems we got. Some soldering that didn't quite do, broken coupler. But let's take it apart and take a look at it, see what's going on. I know we're going to have to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and cut this wire and put new wire in. So that's the next step I'm going to do. Okay, now that we got the two parts apart, free, I'm going to go ahead and take this apart and rewire this. Okay. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test that fuse to see if it works. All right, so you might get confused a couple of times when I'll say, hey, it's a short. A short can be good, a short can be bad. If you're checking the conductivity of a wire to make sure the wire is connected from here to there, and you test it and you say it's a short, that's good. But if you say you have a short and it burns a wire, that's bad. So right now I'm checking the conductivity of this fuse that's sitting. Let me see if I can tighten in a little bit on it so you can see. It's one of the nicest fuses I've ever seen. I've never seen them this nice looking. But we're going to check and I'm going to see if it's short. If you get a ring, that means it's still a good functioning fuse. Okay, nope. It's not ringing, so that means that fuse is bad, so we're going to have to replace that fuse. Okay, just like before, I'm going to desolder these wires so that I can get just to this right here. Makes it easier to work, so let's do that. Okay, now that I got them separated, it'll make it easier to work on this fuse right here. It's got 1A and 1 amp. But let's take a closer look, and we might be able to spot where the wire is broken. So if you look right in the box right here, you see the wire up here, and then it's broken right there, and there's the other end of it. And it's all wrapped around here. So it doesn't make a connection between here and there, so it's broken. So we'll fix that. We'll go ahead and take care of that right now. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this fuse from the two battery terminals. Okay, there it is. It's out. Stick to the wood. All right. So I just got this plastic box out to hold, use the tape to hold down the fuse, so I can put this new wire in there. It's a really thin, little small piece of wire here. And it's really thin. So that's what I'm going to use to solder that in there. So let's get out the soldering iron and make a new fuse. It takes a long time for it to cool down. All right, so we got a new fuse. Let's test it before we take it off the bench here. Oh, so let's see if we got a fuse now. There, we got a new fuse. All right, so now the next thing to do is trim it up a little bit, take off the excess, and install it back onto the local. All right, we're going to take this fuse and we're going to try to solder it back into its original spot. Let it cool down first before I move it. Okay, let's get it the other end. Okay, before we move on, you always double check your work and make sure it's good. There you go. Good to go. That's working again, so let's move on. All right, the next task is will be having to clean all this up. If you look down in here, the solder job is pretty gnarly here. This all that we have to take it off. Look at the burn marks down in here. I hope the switch is right. Hope it still works. Sorry about the truck noises and stuff, but it's a busy day. Also, they aren't using the original screws here. These screws should be like a flat head, a flat top. These are round. But anyway, it works, it works. So the first thing I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna go in there and remove all that and try to clean it up. Okay, the first wire I'm gonna take off is this wire right here. This is the wire that runs up to the loco, the motor. Let's see if we can tighten up a little bit more. And it should be the second prong in there, right about there. Settle back in, get it off. All right. And I'm going to remove this, but I'm going to put it back. All right. Okay, I'm going to try to clean it up off. Okay, the next step I'm going to do, I'm going to attach this red wire that goes to the loco on that center pole of that switch right there. Okay, next I'm going to connect this red wire that runs over to the other battery, half of the battery container. I'm going to connect it to that pole right there. Notice that it was after I cleaned it up, the burn marks on the switch. That's burnt, and right here is burnt. I couldn't clean those out, but anyway. So let's go ahead and try to connect it. Okay, the next step before I try to connect everything together again is I got to remove this green wire. This wire should have been, this has been redone. This wire should have been either blue or black, but it's green. This is that's a pretty gnarly solder joint. It's got solder plat all over the place over here, and it got this big blob of solder underneath it. I'm gonna try to remove that off camera and clean this up off camera. It's just a lot of work, so let me get that. Okay, now I'm going to attach the black wire that runs up to the loco. Okay, this red wire, right, I got in my hands on, will attach right there. So let's see if I can tighten it up a little bit. Wrong way. And recenter it now. All right, soldering iron out. Big solder blob right there, so we'll try to get to it. Okay, and then the blue wire. Well, the blue wire that we have, and I try to reuse all the parts I can. So the blue wire will connect right over here. If I keep my hands out of the way, it'll focus. All right. Next thing to do is to go in with my multimeter and test everything. I'll do that off camera. You've seen how I do that. I'll test it and make sure it's all good. Okay, before I close it up, I'm going to put this piece of tape in here to protect it from shorting out against itself. Okay, now we'll close down the lid on it. Okay, last step is to tighten this down. Oh, before that, I gotta see if I can fix this coupler. Okay, Leah, you got my last coupler. I don't have any more couplers, but we'll see about that. But you got my last one, so what we're gonna have to do is feed the wires through the coupler, and then we'll put this bar back on. Oh, there we go, just like that. I find my screwdriver will be doing good. Oh, there it is. Okay, the last step in the battery carriage repair is to put some batteries in here and test it and see if we got the voltage that we need out. So let's load up some batteries. Turn it on, put it in the on position. Get out a multimeter and measure the voltage DC. So let's measure the voltage DC, red on red. Black on black. Oops, wants to go way over there. I can work with it. All right, it's got 4.52 volts. That's right where we want to be. So now it's the last thing to do is to wrap it up. We're going to turn it off so we don't short anything. Put the lid back on. Put the battery cover back on. And let's tighten it down. Okay, so this is all done. The battery carriage is working just fine. The next thing and the last thing, and on the next video, we are going to break into the Percy. Nice face on the Percy. Break into the Percy and see what's going on inside of that. Thanks for watching.